This video is going to be kind of an update and review of a video I did a couple of months ago on my Harbor Freight 12 by 36 lathe. I did a video where I showed the modifications that I was going to do to this lathe, and if you haven't already seen that video, you may want to go watch that video first and then come back and watch this one, and that way it'll make a whole lot more sense. But anyway, I used an old treadmill motor to upgrade the motor on this Harbor Freight lathe. I've got this little box and put in some electronics. I've got a potentiometer, I've got a forward reverse speed, I added a tack up here. So now it is really what I think is a pretty nice lathe. I've got the the super slow control with the speed. You notice this has the handle here for the Reese drive. I just basically keep it in this position. I never move this because I still have not replaced that Reese drive pulley. This shaft is kind of an oddball, so I just haven't got around to finding the right pulley, so I'm using the Reese drive pulley that came on this shaft, and it's been performing okay. I can get up to, I think, 15 or 1600 RPM. Notice you hear all that noise, but basically what that noise is this cover that I put on top of here just to keep this motor from sucking in all the dust. So it's just kind of setting on there, it just pops off, and so it will vibrate a little bit. But I just wanted to talk about some of the things that since I've been using this for a couple of months, some of the things that I've noticed about this thing. First of all, one of the big complaints was that the frame is really lightweight, but you can see from this little video clip here, I've kind of fixed that by I used some 2x4s to create a base, and then I've got the metal frame bolted to that base, and then I've got lots of weight added here, so that pretty much keeps the lathe from dancing around when I've got something out of balance on it. And plus, again, since I have the speed control, I can really start off slow and then just gradually speed it up as I start getting it round, instead of trying to find the magic speed with the Reese drive like it would come stock. The banjo's a little bit finicky. I've noticed it's got like just a threaded post and then a nut on the bottom of it, and sometimes that nut will kind of get loose and work its way down, and then it gets too loose that you can't tighten the banjo. So my solution is going to be to, whenever I get time, take that nut off and take it to the hardware store and figure out what thread it is, and then just get another nut because there is some thread sticking out down there, and then I can just put the other nut on there once I find just the right spot where it needs to go, and put a jam nut on there. So I think that will fix that without any problem. The tailstock, in the other video I was talking about how it had some inches and centimeters engraved on the tailstock there, but I found out later when I first used it the first time that I didn't look close enough. Wasn't laser engraved. It was just a little sticker that was on there, and it got oily the first time I moved this in and out, and it came off. So still hadn't been a big deal. I haven't really missed it. So as far as the another complaint was the being able to tighten down on these and stripping these out. I really don't see, unless people are just getting too aggressive with them, or putting a gorilla grip on them or whatever. I haven't had a problem with it getting them snug and then stripping that out, so that hadn't been a big deal. One of the other things that's nice is because the treadmill motor that I used is an older treadmill motor, I was able to put a wooden hand wheel because it has two shafts, which a lot of the newer ones don't have that. And that allowed me to keep this open here where I can use the knockout bar to remove the spur drive or whatever I might have in here in the spindle. So that worked out really nice. One of the questions that came up after I did that first video a couple of months ago was, this lathe is made where this head would revolve and you can do some outboard turning. And so one of the questions I got was, because I did this modification, would I still be able to turn that and do something larger than 12 inches? And the answer is yes. I made sure that I made all this stick up high enough so that if I rotate it around, it's going to clear this. And also, this is just a 2x4 that's bolted to here, and this is just setting on it. So all I'd have to do is take that off. I'd probably move it over here so that when I swung this around, now this base would rest on the 2x4 over here for that extra support. But all of this will turn without any problem. Another thing that some people mentioned before in some of the other videos is that they said they had trouble with this loosening up, but I had tightened this up, put my tailstock in, a spur drive, brought them in, checked to make sure I lined up the points, tightened that down, and then I've been running it, and I just checked it the other day, so I've been running it almost 2 months, and I thought, wow, I hadn't really checked that again, so I slid it up here and checked, and it was still spot on right where I'd left it. So you just have to make sure you really crank down on these to get that good and snug. And I have had some pretty out of balance pieces on here, so it's not like I didn't put it through its paces there. So as far as if I had it to do all over again, would I buy this lathe? And the answer is a definite yes. Like I said before in the other video, I put it together in a stock configuration just to show how it comes, but I never turned a single thing with it like that. As soon as I finished that video, I started tearing into it and doing the modifications. And since I've done the modifications, I'm very happy with this lathe. Like I said, it's I think I've increased the value, at least the value to me, quite a bit over what it was buying it. And if you're thinking about getting a lathe, you're just thinking about getting into wood turning, this would be an excellent lathe to look at, I think. And even if you leave it in the stock configuration, I keep talking about the modifications I've done, but I see people all the time on YouTube that have this lathe, the stock lathe, using the Reeves drive, and they still turn beautiful stuff. So it's not like, it's still not a good lathe, but especially if you want to get one and do these inexpensive mods, which I show you how to do in the other video, you can make a really nice lathe out of this. And also, not just in the US, but there are other videos I've watched, and you see this exact same lathe. It's the exact same casting, same flimsy little frame, same motor over here that's sucking in the dust. It's just painted a different color. Over in Europe they have some that's like I can't remember, one of them, part of it is blue and the other part is, I think this part is cream colored, and the legs and frame is blue, and I've seen another one where it's yellow. I mean, you can tell by looking, it's the exact same lathe, it's just painted a different color. So and those guys make great stuff. So I think this is a good lathe to start out with, especially if you want to try to get in with a budget. And instead of spending your money up front on a really nice, I don't know, Laguna, Powermatic, whatever, spend less money on the lathe, and then you'll have more money for things like the chuck, the tools, because that's where you can really run into the money. They say this is a rabbit hole, and the lathe is really one of the cheapest things you end up getting, because you'll spend more money on tools. So I still think it's a great deal for somebody who's looking to get into turning on a budget. Alright, that's going to do it for this video. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so. Make sure you hit the little subscribe button down below and hit the little bell so you get notifications every time I upload a new video. I try to put out a new video every Saturday morning. Usually it's a turning video. It might be something else, but usually it's a turning video, at least lately. And also, if you haven't given this video a thumbs up, please do so. It'll really help my analytics, and I appreciate it very much. So until the next time, thank you very much for watching.